In the cold cell, with a faint light shining through the small window, Lisa, a 32-year-old woman, sat motionless on a hard stone chair. She is facing the death penalty for a crime she claims she did not commit, the kidnapping and murder of Bella, the daughter of a prominent judge. Public opinion hastily condemned her, and the media constantly portrayed her as a monster. However, throughout the trial, Lisa maintained a mysterious calm, a suspicious silence that even her lawyer did not understand. As the trial was coming to an end, and all eyes were on her, Lisa stood up, her eyes staring into the distance in front of her. Her voice rang out, unshakable, strong and clear, leaving the entire courtroom in silence. Bella is alive. I am not the murderer you are looking for. Lisa's statement was like a flash of lightning in a clear sky, shocking the hearts of those present. Journalists recorded every word, and the audience in the courtroom whispered. This testimony not only raises a big question about fairness but also sparks a new investigation into Bella's true fate. The townspeople, once desperate for justice for the missing girl, now face the possibility that the truth they believed in may have been skewed. Lisa's words not only brought hope to herself but also awakened a city that was sleeping in its false beliefs. Lisa's statement was like a flash of lightning in a clear sky, shocking the hearts of those present. Journalists recorded every word, and the audience in the courtroom whispered. This testimony not only raises a big question about fairness but also sparks a new investigation into Bella's true fate. The townspeople, once desperate for justice for the missing girl, now face the possibility that the truth they believed in may have been skewed. Lisa's words not only brought hope to herself but also awakened a city that was sleeping in its false beliefs. In the damp space of the cell, the light from the small window created faint streaks of light on the cold ground. Lisa, with sad eyes, sat facing her tragic fate in silence. Fear and despair tried to penetrate her mind, but she refused to let them take over the steadfastness and faith she had held for so long. The truth was her only faithful companion. Mississippi. As the day of her execution approaches, a priest visits to give her a chance to make her final confession. For many, this is a cleansing ritual, but for Lisa, it is just a heartbreaking reminder of impending death. Do you want to confess, child? The priest asked gently. Lisa shook her head, her voice filled with sadness like the echo of the falling night. Nothing I can say will change my fate. The truth will die with me, she said. As the final hours passed, Lisa took time to reflect on her life, the mistakes and choices that had brought her to this moment. The wall imprisons her not only physically but also as witnesses to her suffering. She said to herself in the silence of the night, yes. I think this is the end. The dawn of the last day slowly rises, and Lisa faces it as a woman condemned not only by the law but also by the incomprehension and fear of a waiting city. But in her heart, the truth still glowed, a last small flame of steadfastness and dignity, even in the face of death. In the gloom of the prison cell, Lisa faced her cruel fate with a mysterious peace, a silent companion throughout the trial process. Her story is a complex picture of forbidden love, revenge, and the twists and turns of justice. Lisa, once Judge Orlando's mistress, is caught up in a sinister plot when she accuses him of having an affair, a fact that Orlando vehemently denies. Things take a tragic turn when a terrible accident occurs, leading to the death of Orlando's wife and the mysterious disappearance of Bella, his 3-year-old daughter. Lisa was convicted of causing the accident and kidnapping the child. Public opinion is seething, demanding harsh justice, viewing Lisa as the enemy of all good things. During the trial, all the evidence seemed to be against her, and despite her fervent denials, the verdict was inexorably delivered: solitary confinement, a punishment personally imposed, it seemed, by Judge Orlando. To cut off all of Lisa's connections with the outside world and prevent all sympathy from others. Lisa's life in prison is a series of lonely and desperate days, a dark reflection of a predetermined fate. But on the night before the execution, after a heavy visit from the priest, Orlando suddenly appeared. Their confrontation quickly turned into a fierce argument. In a room that echoed only with the echo of hatred, Orlando said venomously, "I hope you rot in hell, like Bella." Those words were like a knife stabbing into Lisa's heart, but they were also words that awakened her to a certain truth that she needed to discover. With a forced smile, Orlando left, leaving Lisa in a daze of anger and sorrow. But from there, a new doubt arose in Lisa's mind. Was Bella still alive? Did Orlando create a scene to destroy her? The final hours in prison become a desperate struggle for Lisa to discover and prove this truth. Not only to save her life but also to expose the dark truth hidden behind the curtain of power and intrigue. With a forced smile, Orlando left, leaving Lisa in a daze of anger and sorrow. But from there, a new doubt arose in Lisa's mind. Was Bella still alive? Did Orlando create a scene to destroy her? The final hours in prison become a desperate struggle for Lisa to discover and prove this truth, not only to save her life but also to expose the dark truth hidden behind the curtain of power and intrigue. As Orlando walked away, a dull despair spread through Lisa. His promise of a final meeting the next day cut like a sharp blade through her mind, reminding her that beyond imminent death, the real pain was the unwavering hatred of the who condemned her without understanding the complexity of her story. The night before her execution, Lisa couldn't sleep. Each hour of the clock in her mind sounded like a bell signaling her inevitable fate. As dawn heralded a new day, she felt a cruel force take hold of her mind, a final determination to fight her fate. When the guards came to lead her out, her survival instincts made her scream in despair, "No, no. He is lying. You must continue investigating the case." Her plea for help was lost in the commotion of the guards dragging her into the execution chamber. In an instant, Lisa found herself surrounded by expectant gazes, witnesses hungry for justice. Or perhaps just a desire to witness the final scene of a tragedy. As she was strapped into the electric chair, a vengeful whisper rang out, "You will finally pay for your crimes." Tension filled the room as preparations were made for the execution. A mixture of anticipation and terror filled the space, making the atmosphere as heavy as Lisa's fate. In the final moments, amid the noise and chaos, Lisa takes one last chance to speak the truth that she believes can change everything. Bella is alive. This is the truth. I am not must be the one you're looking for. Her declaration, though weak, echoed through the room, carrying a final message of truth and despair. When everyone was ready for the final moment, everyone's attention in the execution room turned to Lisa. The air was heavy with emotion. The guard approached, his voice carrying the weight of an inevitable finality. "Do you want to say your last words?" he asks. "Yes, I do," Lisa replied, her voice steady despite the fear trying to invade her mind. Her eyes met the satisfied face of the judge, who was sitting in the stands, observing all the developments. Confidence suddenly surged through her, as if his presence had inspired a new strength within her. "The last thing I want to say is," Lisa sighed, her voice growing more certain with each word she said, "if you execute me now, I will take with me the truth about baby Bella's kidnapping. I know where is she because I'm her mother. She's still alive, and I can prove it thanks to that bastard's phone." The room suddenly fell into stunned silence. All eyes turned to Orlando, who had cold sweat on his forehead, when Lisa's lawyer immediately stood up, demanding to stop the execution. "Stop," he shouted. "She has proof." A storm of emotions erupted in the room as witnesses and officials began to discuss heatedly. Chaos spreads, and while everyone tries to make sense of what has just been revealed, Lisa, still strapped to the electric chair, finds herself in the midst of a sudden turn of events that could save her life. Orlando, with a pale expression, begins to realize the collapse of the entire plot he has woven. As his darkest secret begins to come out into the public eye. As the atmosphere in the execution chamber gradually reaches its climax, Orlando tries to maintain his power. He angrily ordered, "Turn on the electric chair." But Lisa did not let herself be silenced. "Do you deny that she is with you?" At her grandparents' farm, she challenged, causing Orlando to gulp in fear, his confident expression fading. That confrontation shocked the atmosphere, and a sudden change occurred when the detectives present entered. "Sir, we need you to sit down and give us your cell phone," an officer said, facing Orlando's outrage. "Do you know who you're talking to?" "I can arrest you," he responded, but his defensive attitude only increased suspicion. Meanwhile, Lisa is carefully removed from the electric chair and Orlando is detained for questioning. News of the shocking event spread quickly, and the press began reporting every development. The case, seemingly closed, suddenly opens up full of new possibilities and questions. Lisa became the center of global attention. In the interrogation room, the tense atmosphere was weighed down by new revelations. Finally, Lisa gets the chance to tell her story, a tale of betrayal in forbidden love, and a desperate search for the truth, completely different from what was presented by the judge. She firmly explains that Bella is the result of her secret relationship with Orlando. Orlando, who had promised to leave his barren wife to be with Lisa and their daughter, decided to disappear with the baby out of fear of the possibility of a scandal. The wife claims to have adopted Bella to fill the void in their lives. In the interrogation room, Orlando retorted, laughing sarcastically, "Do you think I would kill my own wife and daughter to accuse you?" He demanded his immediate release, but his trepidation at the possibility of exposure could not be concealed. The truth about Bella's location remains a mystery until Lisa recalls an important detail, a memory of the time she spent at Orlando's grandparents' farm. "We spent 3 days at the farm, in a dramatic investigation set against a tense courtroom scene." Judge Orlando attempted to refute Lisa's allegations, asserting that Bella's grandparents had passed away years ago and that all Lisa had said was product of a disordered mind. However, the steadfastness and undeniable logic in Lisa's words stimulated deep suspicion, forcing the authorities to decide to open an investigation. "Just go there and you'll see," Lisa said firmly, warning them not to let Orlando contact anyone, because he might harm Bella. In response, the sheriff was faced with the possibility of having to change his approach in this case. He ordered the judge to stay put, while a team of officers was urgently dispatched to the farm to inspect. The media, eagerly following every development, is going crazy with unexpected revelations. Everyone is eagerly waiting for the results of the investigation, whether Lisa's shocking statements about Bella's location and health condition are really true. Over the next few days, the investigation unfolded beyond expectations and revealed more than anyone could have imagined. To avoid any attempt at interference on Orlando's part, he was kept under strict police surveillance. According to the coordinates provided by Lisa, the authorities approached a remote farm. When they arrived at the designated location, they not only found Isabella, now 8 years old, but also an old couple, who turned out to be her great-grandparents. They confessed to police that their nephew, Orlando, had visited them 5 years ago, taking Bella with him on the grounds that she needed a safe place to stay. This truth opens up a completely new case, making the story much more complicated than what people have known. Orlando, a judge once considered a symbol of justice, instructed his grandparents to raise Bella in secret, insisting that her safety depended on absolute secrecy. He warns them that if anyone discovers Bella is there, she will be in danger. When the truth about the farm was revealed, the scandal caused shock and outrage across the country. Orlando was arrested and, after a quick trial, sentenced to 30 years in prison for kidnapping, obstruction of justice and other crimes related to his desperate behavior. The investigation continued to expose Orlando's wrongdoings, including that he took advantage of his wife's tragic death in a car accident to stage Bella's disappearance and manipulated evidence to blame his lover. This plan is not only to get rid of the woman who threatens to expose his affair, but also to create a new life for him, free from past troubles. Meanwhile, Lisa was finally acquitted of all charges. Her release was met with applause and tears of relief from the public, who had called for her conviction. When the truth about her situation was revealed, public opinion changed completely. Lisa's story, with all its complexity and tragedy, dominated the headlines, portraying her not as an enemy but as a victim of one of the most terrible injustices ever known. In tears, Lisa told journalists, "I just want my daughter back." Her story touched the hearts of many people, making them ask for forgiveness for their mistakes in judging her. In the light of legal victory and vindication, Lisa's pain could not be hidden as she had to say goodbye to Bella, her baby daughter. Even though the truth has been revealed, the psychological challenge of rebuilding a relationship with Bella is still a difficult journey. After weeks of waiting, mother and daughter were finally reunited and began weaving the threads of their new life together. Bella, now 8 years old, understands the full story of her mother's courage, unconditional love, and tireless fight to win her back. More than just seeing Lisa as a mother, Bella admires her as a heroine who never gives up, even in the face of the harshest adversities. With the compensation they received, mother and daughter moved to a small house in the country, a peaceful refuge away from the suffering of the city. This new home, surrounded by the vibrancy of nature and the singing of birds, symbolizes a new beginning, where Bella can grow and develop away from the darkness of her tumultuous past. They are not alone on this journey. The grandparents, who raised Bella with love and dedication, were also invited to live with them. This seemed like a natural choice. After all, they had been the ones providing Bella with much-needed love all these years. Living under one roof, they together affirmed their determination to build a unified family where nothing can separate them anymore. This is an opportunity for everyone to start anew, to embrace each new day with hope and the warmth of friendship. Lisa and Bella's story is not only a personal journey of a young mother facing and overcoming harsh challenges, but also a symbol of the power of love and forgiveness. After years of suffering, injustice and suffering, Lisa found liberation through her unconditional love for her young daughter Bella. When they stood together looking at the horizon, where the golden sunset spread, it was not only a picture of mother and daughter but also an image of integration and new beginnings. In that sunset, Bella, even though she was still young, understood the value of moments shared with her mother. The little girl hugged Lisa tightly, a sign of trust and safety that she had been looking for a long time. Lisa, a woman who has gone through many ups and downs, now quietly whispers a prayer, grateful for the past that has taught her the strength to face the present and the future. They stood there, on the land they called home, where they grew crops together, built each brick, each happy memory. The scars of the past are gradually covered by the joy of the present and hope for a bright future. Their story, which began with pain, is now a symbol of revival and hope. A testament to the fact that, no matter how difficult, love and resilience always have the power to transform the world. Change fate. When the video ends, the images of Lisa and Bella gradually fade into the sunset, but their story, a story of hope, redemption and constant striving to improve, is still there, continuing to spread strength and inspiration to those lucky enough to hear it.